It started with a truth I never asked for, a truth that ripped apart the family I thought I knew and set fire to everything I had believed about where I came from. I have a sister, 2 years older than me, a brother, 3 years older. We grew up side by side, sharing birthdays, Christmas mornings, scraped knees, and inside jokes only siblings could understand. For 25 years, I thought we were a normal family. A father who loved us, a mother who kept the home together, and the shared history that comes from being raised under the same roof. Until 2019. That's when the curtain was yanked back. That's when our reality split. We discovered that the man we had always called Dad wasn't our biological father. Not for any of us. Not for a single one of his children. Even he didn't know. The betrayal was devastating. My father, our father, had been lied to for over 2 decades by the woman he married. And the truth was uglier than I could have imagined. My sister and brother shared one biological father. I had a different one. But here's where it gets worse. Those 2 men, they were brothers, which meant my siblings and I weren't just half siblings. We were also first cousins. My dad, the man who had raised us, who taught us right from wrong, who had shown up for every school play and sports game. He was not related to us by blood at all. When he found out, he left my mother, not just hurt, shattered, betrayed, disgusted that she had kept such a lie from him for so long. I cut my mother off completely. My siblings didn't go that far, but their relationship with her was never the same. After the dust settled, my dad moved in with me and my boyfriend, now my fiance. The world shut down soon after. COVID came. And in that small apartment, with the fear of the outside world pressing in, we made a promise. All 3 of us, me, my brother, my sister, we said it out loud. This man was our dad. Nothing could change that. Biology meant nothing compared to the life we had shared. At least, that's what I thought. They didn't keep that promise. At some point, my brother and sister went looking for their biological father. By extension, they found mine too. And then the shift began. Slowly at first, then all at once. Their words started changing, their tone. Suddenly the man who had raised us was stepdad. The man who had done the work of a father year after year was being corrected out of the title. My brother even told his 2 little girls who had called my dad Grandpa their whole lives, to stop. To call him step-grandpa instead. And they did. While their biological grandfather, the man who had been absent for decades, was now Grandpa. It broke my dad's heart. He tried to talk to them, tried to understand. And in return, they told him to know his place, to stay in his lane, that nothing would change, while making it painfully clear that everything had already changed. I can't describe the anger I felt watching them tear him down like that. After everything he had done for us, after decades of being the one constant in a family built on lies. And then they turned their attention to me. They told me I should meet my real dad. Told me it was fine to go back on what we had promised. As if loyalty to the man who raised me was something I could just switch off. Originally, they were invited to my wedding. But the more I watched them hurt him, the more I knew. I couldn't have them there. I couldn't stand in a white dress and smile, pretending that the people who had humiliated my father belonged in that room. So I told them they were no longer welcome. That's when they got defensive. They insisted that their relationship with their real dad didn't change things between us. But it did. It changed everything. I told them that if our dad wasn't their real dad after everything he'd done, then they weren't my real siblings. Technically, they were just half-siblings and cousins. Biology cuts both ways. I told them it was best they didn't come, because I didn't want them there anymore. They were hurt. My sister-in-law, married to my brother, called me an asshole, said I was throwing half in their faces and cutting them out like we hadn't been siblings our whole lives. And maybe that's what stung the most. Hearing her defend their hurt feelings when they'd spent months cutting my dad out of theirs. Apparently, in their minds, he could be discarded like nothing. But they still expected me to treat them as if nothing had changed. Here's the thing. They're not the ones who got cheated on. They're not the ones who had their entire life's work as a father erased with one cruel word, step. He is. My dad is the man who sat with me through homework I didn't understand, who cheered from the bleachers, who took us on long drives just because, who let us try new things and never pushed too hard, who taught us to respect others, who laid down the law when he had to, but never with cruelty. He's the man who quietly helped my brother and sister-in-law when they were struggling to buy things for their first baby, who never asked for credit, who loved those little girls with his whole heart, and they threw him away. So yes, I threw half right back in their faces. And if that makes me cruel, then maybe they should ask themselves why it hurts. Maybe they should imagine how it felt for him to hear step-grandpa from the mouths of children he thought of as his own grandchildren. I don't regret it, not for a second, because my dad is the only part of my family I'm proud to claim, and I will protect him, even if that means walking down the aisle without the people I once called my brother and sister. So, am I the asshole? When I think about this story, I think about how fragile the word family can be, and how strong it can be when it's built on choice, not just blood. Family is supposed to be the people who show up, the ones who stand by you when life rips you apart. And for this dad, he did exactly that. He stayed. He raised children who weren't biologically his, and he loved them without reservation. And yet, when the truth came out, 2 of those children decided that biology mattered more than the man who had been there for everything. That's not just sad. It's a choice that says a lot about where loyalty begins and ends for them. I think a lot of us want to believe that blood ties are unbreakable. But here's the hard truth. They can be severed in an instant. And chosen family? That's forged in a different fire. One made of commitment, love, and shared life. This bride's decision wasn't just about a wedding guest list. It was about protecting her father from more pain. It was about saying, if you can't honor the man who raised you, you don't get to stand beside me on the biggest day of my life. So I'll leave you with this. Who do you consider family? The ones who share your DNA, or the ones who showed up year after year without fail? And if those 2 answers aren't the same, which one matters more? Because maybe the real question isn't who's the asshole. Maybe it's who's worth keeping in your life at all.